Hello, everybody. This is Krystle, KillJoy, and
The Grim Phreaker.
welcome to Plus 10 Melanin. Again, we have lots of exciting things to talk about, and I want to jump right in.
Yeah.
Well, we can't jump right in right
Well,
this
well,
second.
yeah.
We need to talk about what we've been playing. What have you been playing?
You know what? I have been lackadaisical this week. I guess since I've beaten the division, I've kind of like laid back a little bit. I was kind of expecting a bit more. Now I'm in the dark zone, but people have been no-lifing it. So everybody and their mother has like level 50 players in the dark zone, and then they have these high-end weapons that cut through you like butter. So it doesn't make it that much fun anymore. Like I'll go in there with maybe one or two friends and then you know scoot right back out. But I started getting back into Far Cry Primal too. I forgot how fun that was in the midst of my session with the Division. So that's been happening. Nothing special happening there.
Huh. That what you described in the division almost sounds like what happens when you reach the end game in most MMOs. Like everybody does the content. It's a little too easy, so everybody's super geared and everybody's running around high level and it's yeah. It definitely nailed the MMO aspect in that regard, which is kind of sad. Um
Sure.
so I actually have been playing a lot of Fallout 4 after Automatron. I haven't beat it yet because I want to build up my robot some more. I want to build up Ada, and I want to go there with like a super beefed out Ada and just have an amazing explosive end to that quest line because that's how I like to do things. Um, so I've been playing that, and then I got into like beefing up my settlements in the game again,
Okay.
which I actually posted on my YouTube channel, Hangman's Alley, and what I did with that. So that was pretty cool. Other than that, Stardew Valley on and off. Um, been playing games on my phone a lot lately, mostly Blendoku. It's a nice, neat.
Blendoku?
Yeah, it's a color blending game, and it has you have to put blocks of color in order, and usually they change slightly by like by hue or saturation or by tone. And a lot of the colors will look really similar, so it's like you really have to it's really challenging and I really like it. And if you're artistic at all and you do like drawing, painting, you work with color a lot, I would strongly recommend Blendoku. It's an amazing game and it's free. It's by the Lonely Few is the developer, and it's for I think all mobile platforms except Windows Phone, but don't quote me on that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Windows.
but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I know it's for iOS and Android. I'm not sure about the others. But yeah, that's what I've been up to this week.
I gotta check that out because I do happen to have some artistic love, and I need something a little different. Even though my phone is kind of booty, I'm thinking about getting a new phone soon. I'm not sure, but
It's an
I'll
addicting
get
game.
that.
It really is.
I love games that are like super addicting because it kind of like I don't know. I don't have that long of a bus ride, but my job has a ton of dead time
Down.
in
Yeah.
between. So it's like, I wonder what I can do. And I used to be able to do that with some cooking game, some diner game. I think it was like Diner Dash or something like that. And then I beat all of the islands and stuff. So I need a new game. So I'll check that out. That seems
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of mobile games, I know you're not that excited about it, but I am very excited.
Pokemon.
Pokemon Go, the beta is coming to Japan. Actually, let me see. It says that the signups for the field test began in Japan earlier this month. I still don't. They haven't really opened up about how they're gonna deal with like Pokemon in odd places, maybe possibly in your toilet,
Hmm.
in your neighbor's apartment. Um, I don't know how that's going to work, but I am sure willing to try that out. I think it sounds really fantastic, and I don't know. It supposedly it's going a field test is supposed to come to the United States and Europe later this year. It says at a later date, but it's definitely going to come later this year, maybe summertime, because I know they're supposed to be releasing it in the US sometime in November. I think like November 16th or something. So they've got to have the field test soon.
Yeah. You know, as someone who obviously is not enthused with Pokemon, the concept sounds so cool that I may end up doing it. Just, I may end up picking it up.
Yeah, I mean, I have, let's see, I have Omega Sapphire. I think, no, is it Omega Ruby? It was something, I don't know, whatever. I have the current ones, and now they're coming out with, what is it, the Sun and the Moon? I think it is a new Pokemon that's supposed to be coming out.
Something like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, being that I have all these games and I still want to try the Pokemon Go, like I'm very, very interested how they are going to go and how they're going to make this the thing. Like I feel like they're trying to get like this net of people that don't really have handheld games, that do not want to spend the $300 on a Nintendo DS or however much it costs now.
Yeah.
But they have like these phones that can do pretty much anything. So they're like, you know what? We want to get these people who don't want to have the handheld, but will spend a ton of money on their phone. And I don't see why not. I think
It's
it's
a
a
smart
smart
idea.
move.
It's
Yeah.
very smart.
I think it's definitely a smart idea, but we'll see how it happens because Nintendo has been kind of up and down with me this week. So
Right.
yeah, I want to give them a pat on the head, but I also want to middle finger them. But we'll get to that later
Right.
on in the show.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of cell phones, again, Nintendo in the news. They are having their first smartphone game that launches this week in the U.S.
Huh.
Yeah,
How did I miss that?
we missed that Nintendo had a new console coming out, so
True.
yeah, sorry Nintendo.
Hey
Yeah,
guys, we're still relevant.
yeah, I know, somewhat. Other than Pokemon games,
Right.
but yeah, so the smartphone game came out in Japan, of course,
Of course.
earlier this month, and it's had 1 million downloads in its first 3 days in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah. The first game will be featured about, I guess, I don't know. I'm looking at a cat. It's called Mitomo.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird looking, and it's very Japan-y. You know, like you look at the picture and you're like, wow. I'm not surprised that this is really popular in Japan because they have like
Yeah.
this little panda guy who's like falling in a cat's mouth with this surprised face. So, weird stuff and cats always go together, and it's very popular. It says Mitomo creates conversations and turns discussions into a form of play by prompting users to answer all kinds of fun questions. How would you define your fashion style? What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? If you were given 10 grand to spend in one day, what would you do? The answers get shared among friends, sparking interest, conversations. Part of the fun is discovering unexpected facts about your friends. When users hear how their friends respond to questions, they can give answers, a heart, or a written picture, or a picture. Comment. This sounds like Facebook, but it's supposed to be free to download.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would download it to try it out and see what the hubbub
It's
is
like an
about.
app that just pretty much manufactures a social experience if you think about it, which is kind of dystopian futury, but it's weird, and that's exactly what's attracting me to it, which
Yeah,
is interesting.
that's Nintendo. So we'll see what happens. They said that they have about 5 more smartphone games that are supposed to launch by 2017.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, I don't know, like maybe my radar is going off. Maybe my paranoia radar is going off. Maybe Nintendo's like preparing to possibly die on the console scene because I don't think anybody really cares about NX or Nix, the new console they're supposed to have coming out. I mean, I haven't heard anybody talk about it. Like, I found out about it by mistake.
Yeah, same here. And I was actually just thinking that, like, I feel like they're preparing to move away from consoles and grab the mobile market, which it makes me a little sad to think about, but I guess, that's technology and that's the industry. That's how things go. I'm just like, I'm not ready.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ready either. I think they will probably, if the indications are right, I think they will probably move away from like the big consoles and maybe stay with like the smaller consoles like the DS, the 3DS. I could see them continually making
Yeah,
games for the 3DS and coming out with like a better console, better handheld console, but completely moving away from bigger home consoles, which kind of sucks because your nostalgia, like you're like,
right.
wow. I mean, I haven't bought a Nintendo console in a really long time, but I still don't want to see it go.
Right. Same here. I'm just like, last one I bought was a 3DS XL years ago, but as a console, like a home console, I still have my Nintendo, my NES and my N64 like displayed out on my shelf with like all my games and stuff. Like that's how I remember or I think of Nintendo. I don't want to say remember as if it's already gone, but like see, it's already
Foreshadowing.
happening. It's already happening.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know what to think. It's like you have to let it go. I mean, eventually, sometime in the future, maybe Sony and Microsoft will be gone from the console scene. Who knows? Who
Eh,
knows? But you never know. That's what you know. What I there was a point where I thought that Nintendo would never fail. And the Wii was cool, but then the Wii U came out and I was only planning to get it because of Monster Hunter. Like that was the only game I was gonna get it for.
hmm.
Legit. So I don't know. There are still some really hardcore Nintendo fans out there. Like I know people who have every Nintendo Wii U game that plays Splatoon like nobody's business, and they will smash brothers the shit out of your face.
Yeah,
So who knows what's gonna happen. This may be something that's gonna sneak up on us, where I don't know, Nintendo may have something to say at E3 and blow us all the way, and we're just like, wow, I
that
shouldn't
would
have
be
slept on
nice.
it.
I would welcome that.
Yeah, I would definitely welcome that, but
So,
it's whatever. Speaking of new consoles, so we talked last week about the new 4K point five,
yeah.
well, PS 4.5, which is supposed, or PS 4K. They've got
Oh,
all these nicknames for it, but I
oh
think,
boy.
yeah, exactly. I think it's gonna be called PS4K because it just sounds cooler to me anyway. But so there's more rumored details about it. They're supposedly going to announce a release date for it before the PlayStation VR launch. If I remember correctly, I think PlayStation VR is supposed to release in November or something like that.
Hmm.
So I could see Sony releasing the details about the, I'm just gonna call it PS4K during E3. The only thing I mean I don't really care, but I kind of do care because I'm just like I just bought mine in October. What the
Yeah.
fuck, I could have just saved my money and had this. But again, like I said before, you never know what's gonna happen because consoles catch fire or they give you like death signs, so who
Yep.
knows. But the upgraded PS4 will reportedly be able to play 4K resolution content and deliver a richer gaming environment, including a high-end virtual reality experience. So that makes sense,
Yeah.
where they're just like, okay, so I'm going to run you for an extra $500, and then I'm going to announce the VR set so that you can be curious about the games and spend an extra $500 on that VR set.
I see what they did there.
Yeah, That's
Clever.
that's uh that's really fucking smart.
Clever.
I see you,
That would work
Sony.
on me.
That would work on me if I didn't already have a PS4.
If I had like however much money to drop on like that and the VR, then yeah, that would work on me.
Yeah, that would definitely work on me. I'm slightly regretting buying my PS4 so soon, slightly, ever so slightly. But I'm okay. Like again, I'll wait and see if people's houses are being burned down because it's too powerful and whatnot. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's like a slight exaggeration because you never know.
Right.
You
Let
never
some other
really
people
know.
be guinea pigs and they can report their findings. I'm
Yeah.
cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know. Anyway, so I had no idea that Attack on Titan had a video game.
Oh,
Yeah,
news to me.
that is also news to me, but of course, because it's in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
it's oh, it's has mixed reviews. Mostly because you're doing all the Titan slaying by yourself. And I mean, when I was reading it, I was kind of like, why would I want to do all this by myself? Like, shouldn't it have AI characters? Because the in the anime itself, it's very team oriented.
Yeah.
Just so many on it. So why would I? I think it would be cool at first to jump from roof to roof and do the whole flying
Yeah.
all over the place. But then after a while, it's like, okay, I'm doing this by myself. There's like 4 Titans over the wall. Why would I want to do this by myself? So, of course, they've decided to add a multiplayer aspect to it. And now you are no longer killing things by yourself, which is actually pretty cool. And you don't have to share things. Like, nope, everybody doesn't share an inventory. You kind of just, like, pick up stuff and go.
Huh.
Yeah, so that was cool. If you are interested, if you know how to read Japanese or you like to feel your way through games, because I know a lot of people that don't understand a wince of Japanese, but will feel their way through the games because human brains are capable like that, and they
Not
start to
I.
recognize, yeah, that's not for me. That's not for me. But if you're interested in that, you can definitely play it. Yeah, I mean, I guess who cares? It's not over here and it's not in English for me to like really, really read and go through. And plus I guess I'm just not interested in the single player part. So I would rather
Yeah.
just have it be multiplayer, the whole game be multiplayer. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like the single player would get old really fast and only hold my attention for a certain amount of time. So hopefully the multiplayer aspect saves the game for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, it is
Yeah.
what it is. So, do you want to announce this news, the Stardew Valley news?
Yeah, so since I've been, low key playing that, let's talk about an update to what we talked about on a previous podcast, which was about a mod to make the biracial character in Stardew Valley whiter. She is the only dateable biracial character, and there's a mod to make her white. Her name is Maru, and that obviously was not taken well by a lot of the community after much controversy. I think they actually took the mod down.
Really?
Yeah, I did read that. Actually, I think if you read that same article here, um, so it was like some kind of update. So they decided to take it off the forums or wherever it was being hosted. So obviously there's reactions to that. There's the borderline sociopathic people who don't care about anybody else that are like, oh, everything's too PC, blah blah blah. But yeah, there's that. But mainly there is another mod which diversifies the characters. And that is actually really neat because if you look at the diversity that's in the mod, I mean, you don't just get like a tan character. Like, you get a dark skinned character, you've got different hair textures, afro textures, colored and dyed hair, piercings, and all kinds of things. But, like, you get a lot of variety in it. And I think that is definitely, I don't know, that makes me happy. the chain of events in general that followed that initial whitewashing skin mod, this makes me happy. So now I can talk about playing it again without feeling like I'm, endorsing something that I don't believe in.
Yeah, when I saw the article, I was like, oh, this
Yep.
is for Krystle, because
Hee hee.
to be honest, I get turned off really easily from some games, and when I heard about that mod and that the creator didn't really say much about it, I was just like, I'm not giving these people my money,
Yeah.
because if you're gonna allow some white supremacist bullshit like that to go on, and that's what it is. Like when you want to erase the only person of color in the game, that's a problem. Like
Yeah.
that's a real problem. Like that's not an outlook on the game per se, but that's an outlook on the community, because it's like, so your world basically has no other color. That's what you're saying.
Right.
So
And it's saying for the character to even be worth, to be dateable, she's got to be whitened, and that's really messed up. And
yeah.
people say, "Oh, it's just a game, blah blah blah," and
Well, if it's
if
just
you
a
were to do
game,
it
why do
the
you
other way
do it?
around, I'm like, okay, but games mirror real life, and game environments and a lot of other things about them mirror real life. So you have the same problem. So you can't just do this and pretend that it's not related to sentiments of anti-blackness or racism and whitewashing. Like it's connected, whether or not you want to see it.
Yeah, I love this person, not Snuffy. She's I mean, I don't know if this is male or female. I don't think
It's
they
a
really.
unicorn.
It's a unicorn. Okay, said unicorn said that they've basically made the mods that turn Haley and Emily black, Robin and Sebastian Southeast Asian, Harvey Sikh, Leah Native American, among others. And I thought that was just so creative. Like, just
Yeah, like
I don't know.
actual variety.
Yeah, it as emotional as this sounds, not that emotional is bad, but it kind of made me teary eyed, because obviously there's somebody out there that's like, dude, fuck this, and they have the skill, so they're like, you know what? I'm gonna do something about this. This is enough is enough. This We need some serious representation. And of course, there are people on there, like you said, on some borderline sociopathic bullshit. Oh well, I don't understand why it's okay to make things diversified, but we can't make things more white, which makes no sense. Just it's just really odd, because there's just so many video games that don't even feature black people. You're telling me you cannot have this one game with a
No,
mixed person at that?
no,
Like,
absolutely not. Ever can't do it.
yeah. So the person, not Snuffy, the unicorn that made the the mod, responded to the community and said Demetrius and Maru are the only people of color in the game. Whitewashing them removes the very little representation the game has. White people don't need more representation. Hello? They can pick
Yeah,
up any game, see any movie, watch any TV show, and see characters like themselves. POC, that stands for people of color, for those of you that don't know, are so often only in movies, TV show, etc. as minor characters, or to meet a we have a POC and therefore not racist quota. I'm making over some of the characters in Stardew Valley as POC because frankly I almost didn't buy the game because I was so disappointed with the lack of representation. You don't have to use the mod, like I won't use the whitewash Demetrius and Maru. But I know I wanted to play a game with a more diverse cast of characters, and know there are people out there that might want to as well. So I thought I'd share. Rock on.
yeah. Like, and I feel like we've said that so many times. Like, why whitewash the only diversity in the game? Like, it says something, no matter how you try to argue it. Oh, it's just a preference. Why is that a preference? When I go into a game, I'm going to play the game. I'm not looking at the races of the characters and saying, before I can really enjoy this game, you know what I need to do? I need to change the people of color into white characters. Like, there is something wrong if that thought crosses your mind at any
Yeah.
point during your gameplay. And I don't care what the argument is, that Like, that literally does not cross my mind. What crosses my mind is, hey, I wish I could relate to some of the characters. I wish maybe one or two of them looked like me, cosplay ideas or
Hmm.
whatever, just, being a part of the community. But I never boot up a game and think, huh, this would be better if all the characters, were white. Or even if all the characters are black. There's no need for a homogenous population among a video game. I like to see variety. I don't understand what's wrong with people who don't.
I I just feel like there's something wrong with the fact that we're in 2016. I'm 30 years old and I'm still acting like a little kid when I see a black person. Oh my god, there's a black person. Like,
Right?
I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that, and that makes no sense. That you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be a white person somewhere, even in foreign films. You
Yep.
can expect for a white person to show up randomly, randomly at an airport or in the street. You can always expect to see a white person, but you know what? I'm still like, hmm,
Oh, hey, someone
we're
like me.
we're in a town that is usually very diverse. I don't understand how there are only white people here. But okay, let me continue playing the game. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yep.
it's odd. It's very odd that once you start bringing these things up, people catch a real attitude. Like, it's a problem for other people to ask to be seen and represented. There's
Yeah.
really something wrong with that. Like, question yourself. If you have a problem with other people, with people of color saying, hey, it would be nice if they had Asian, or if they had Native American, or if they had black people in this. And if your first question is why, you have a problem.
Exactly. And it's not just about, hey, we want black people in video games specifically, or hey, we want black people in comics, or we want this. It's, hey, can you take steps to make this community one that does not participate in erasure? Because we all know that the reason why we don't see ourselves is because of erasure, and that's because of racism. So all we're saying is, hey, can we get racism out of the community? And with one of those steps being to diversify the representation in our video games, that's really all we're asking if you get down to it.
Like, literally, it's
That's it. That's
it's
it.
I mean, if you wanted to be like lazy, all you had to do was change the skin color. I mean, we would notice it right away.
Right.
We would notice it because we always do, and we're like, oh, so yeah, I just gonna throw some like a skin on there
Mm-hmm.
and think that you're going to dip a white girl in some brown, just brown skin and call it a day.
H1Z1 black people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You think you can just do that, but we're just like, at least we have some brown skin somewhere in there. Come on, let's not do this, people. But of course we're going to do this, and I'm glad that it's catching on. Like, he or she really went through the motions, and they made people with dyed hair and glasses, and you can see the different skin colors and such. So, like, I can really appreciate that. It made me happy. Now I will buy the game and I will mod it. I will download the mod, because my world, the real world, has so many people in it that look different from each other, and I'd rather it be like that. So,
Me too.
yeah. Are you playing Black Desert Online still? Was that something that you wanted?
I got it, and I've been playing on and off. I haven't played a whole lot recently, but I was playing a little bit. It's I don't know, it's very typical Asian MMO-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for something about it that's gonna stand out and grab me before I lose interest, and I'll put it that way.
So the old install, uninstall.
Yeah, and I don't want to deter anybody from trying the game because it does have some really good elements. And if you tend to really like Asian style MMOs, then definitely go for it. But just a forewarning, if that's not really your thing and it's just pure curiosity you're looking into, that might happen.
Yeah, I could see that. I guess I was kind of like looking at it, just like, because I keep hearing about it, and it's just like, okay, why am I hearing about this? Because it doesn't really look that appealing to me, I guess, because it looks like every other Asian MMO.
Right.
But
I think the character creation hooked everybody because the character creation is amazing.
oh
But
really?
yeah, it's super, super detailed. Think like the customization of characters in like the Elder Scrolls games or the Fallout franchise,
Ooh.
but maybe 1.5 to 2 times more detailed.
Really?
Yeah, in some aspects. It's really cool. I actually might. Well, I could make a video, but there's a lot of them out on the internet that just show you the character creation process. Like it's super detailed. And I think everybody really jumped on that, which is fine. We'll just see if the rest of the game holds up the same.
Hmm. Can you make black people?
Yes, you can actually.
Wow.
My character is pretty dark skinned. Yeah, like you
Mm.
can't just make like, high yellow, light skin that just stepped out in the sun for like 20 minutes characters. You can make like actual dark characters. So it's
Really?
nice.
Can you have hairstyles outside of cornrows and afro?
Um, well, I don't, yeah, they don't even have those. That's where they kind of falter. They just have like, your standard Asian MMO hairstyles. You've got the long hair and, the side swept and the buns and the ponytails. And then you've got like the curly, yeah, yeah, you get all that.
Okay, well, I'll give them an A for effort on that because sometimes, well, most times they forget that people have a really dark skin tone, and I they sometimes I don't even find characters like black characters my color, and I'm pretty light.
Right,
So sometimes I'm just like, okay, I look like a tanned white person,
right.
but okay, let's go with this. So
Yeah,
I
it's just like,
mean,
all right, I see how this is going.
yeah, but I mean, I may get into it because from what I'm seeing is that Black Desert is getting an expansion less than a
Yeah,
month after its launch, which is super fast. Like,
that is super. Is this a paid expansion? Because that
um,
would seem a little shady if right
nope, it's
after a month.
free. It's
Oh,
free.
okay.
Yeah, it's called the Medaya expansion,
Hmm.
and it let me see. It says it's free for all players in North America and Europe. It increases the size of Black Desert Online's world by 30%.
Ooh.
Yeah, it adds over 1,000 new quests. Cause I'm going through this bullet list here, so I may sell it. Who knows? It's Kazarka, an enormous boss that can take on hundreds of players at a time. That sounds
Very fun.
epic.
Yeah.
New guild missions, including special bosses that drop formidable weapons. Crimson Battlefield instance 40 versus 40 skirmishes. What the fuck? That
That
players
sounds amazing.
I know can that players can queue for in groups of 5 or solo. New weapons and more powerful armor set. Craftable alchemy stones allow players to apply attack, defense, or life bonuses to their equipment. And equipment can be enchanted to higher levels. That is huge.
That's okay. I might be playing that a little bit more then. You
Yeah.
know.
What the hell? Wow. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
that's a lot of content.
Whoa. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm
I'm really
impressed.
yeah. They whoa. That is some overtime. I'm speechless. That is overtime. Like that's OD.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm
Wow.
I'm excited. There's a couple people I'm gonna need to talk to about this.
Yeah, I would be willing to download this game. Like I may uninstall Diablo 3 and install this and see how it goes. Like I would totally be okay with um doing this mission, especially that mission with the boss that can take on like hundreds of people at the same time. Like
That's like a mega raid.
it's like what the
It's not
hell?
even like a raid like an MMO raid. That's just like a huge like yeah, I like this.
That's amazing. Like Who comes up with that crap? Do you understand how much strategy that would take to take down something like that with hundreds of people?
I guess that's why they have those videos on like YouTube and stuff where people literally just record their raids and they're like, yeah, this is, we're fighting this boss because it takes a lot to the point where people literally just want to watch you do it and be like, wow, you did that.
Holy crap. So of course everybody's gonna be creating guilds
Yep.
and they're like, oh, oh my god, what the? Alright, that's it. I'm downloading it. Wow. I sold it to myself.
Nice.
Alright, so does
Should've
that cost money? Is that free? Is that game free?
No, it is 30 for regular and then 50 for whatever extended edition, if that's even still on sale.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
That's
it's
not
good.
bad. Let's see. Alright. So
Oh.
we have come to the large. We've come to the equator because this is it's too much now. It's too much. So Blizzard in this game Overwatch. Now, Overwatch is like a first person shooter and they have all these amazing characters and I was kind of impressed by, I don't know if you remember when I was telling you about the I guess it's like a robot monk. I'm pretty sure I was talking to you about it.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, so it's like this robot monk, and he's just like so fucking dope. And they have all these other characters on there that are absolutely amazing. But there is one character a female character, of course, that has a sexualized pose. Now, some would say this is on the more modest side of sexualized, but it's still sexualized. I'm trying to find out the name of this character because it's like all in the
Tracer.
Tracer.
Walking time traveling demoness Tracer. Yep.
Right. So she has this one pose. I guess I think it's maybe like an intro pose or maybe like a victory pose where she's overlooking her shoulder, and like her butt is pretty much the center of attention in this pose. So one fan, she's like, "Hey, you know what? I don't know what's going on." The actual quote, because they were the synopsis is, I don't know why you have this pose because this has nothing to do with the character, and why is this the only character with this kind of pose, because they have spandex on and her butt is featured.
Yeah.
But the quote is, what about this pose has anything to do with the character you're building in Tracer? It's not fun, it's not silly, it has nothing to do with being a fast elite killer. It just reduces Tracer to another bland female sex symbol. We aren't looking at a Widowmaker pose here. This isn't a character who is in part defined by flaunting her sexuality. This pose says to the player base, oh, we've got all these cool, diverse characters, but at any moment we are willing to reduce them to sex symbols to help boost our investment game. I have a young daughter that every day when I wake up wants to watch the Recall trailer again. She knows who Tracer is, and as she grows up, she can grow up alongside these characters. What I'm asking is that you continue to add to the Overwatch cast and investment elements. Okay. Sorry, I lost my place there. You double down on your commitment to create strong female characters. You've been doing a good job so far, but shipping with a Tracer pose like this undermines so much of the good you've already done. It seems reasonable, right?
Right.
Like, no, there's no raging. It's just, an opinion. Apparently opinions get you like internet fucked up. So this thread that was started, an innocent opinion about it, and very reasonable at that, it exploded on the internet, of course, because
of course it did.
Yeah, people were like, oh, you're making a big deal. They were telling Blizzard not to pay attention to this person, as if this one person,
Right. He's gonna
you
tell
know,
them what to do.
yeah, they're gonna tell like a $1 billion company what the fuck to do. Like, they were just expressing their opinion. Doesn't happen. Of course other people are like, it doesn't seem sexual to me.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
It's because they're used to women always being, used as sexual advertising, so they don't see it as blatantly sexual because, our bodies are just always on display.
Yeah. So then the internet just like went in. Like, I mean, they were dragging this person all over Twitter, all over Facebook, and they were going back and forth. All this is feminist bullshit. Just asking what is the purpose of this pose is feminist bullshit. What does that say about you internet males that are making a big deal about this? I have been trying to sift through the sludge that is this topic, and it's just so messy with how people seem to think that it's not a big deal and it doesn't affect anything, but women are, we keep bringing it up.
Right. And I don't know if they think
us.
we just do this for fun. Like, no, this isn't a hobby. Like, if we're taking the time to talk about this and willing to endure, the unavoidable onslaught of meninist bullshit, then obviously it really does mean something. So listen. And here, see, okay, I want to get into something for a second. The pose that Tracer's in has been overused in movie covers and movie posters and comic book covers, and there's been talk about this, and there's been articles, and there's been trends. The typical sexualized female post is with her back facing the viewer, looking over her shoulder, so you get a view of her ass and her legs. And in the case of comic books and, really shitty comic artists who completely destroy the rules of anatomy in order to get the tits and ass in the same shot, that's what's happening. And it's a trend you see all the time. You see it with Black Widow in the freaking movie posters, Avengers and all that stuff. You see it like literally everywhere. You can look at anything that has any kind of, somewhat sexual character, and, she's going to be in that pose. Back facing the audience, looking over her shoulder, usually an accentuated butt. Like, it'd be different if she were in that pose and she was wearing like all black pants, or like a skirt or something where like her ass wasn't accentuated. But like, it's so typical. And people are trying to say it's not sexual, it's not this and that. I'm like, this is literally a trend that spans outside of the nerd sphere and in all forms of advertising. Like, you're not going to sit here and ignore monumental evidence and expect me to have a conversation with you.
Yes, they are.
I'm just going to spam you with memes because you're not even worth it at that point.
Right. It bothers me. It bothers me more so because this is just one pose. Like, I guarantee you, if they had just taken that pose out without saying anything, nobody would have noticed.
And no one would have cried.
Nobody would have noticed. But after them dragging this poor person all over their internet, so Blizzard's, he's the game director of Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan. He actually agreed with the person who made the post, and he made a follow-up. He said, we weren't entirely happy with the original pose and had been making a new pose that we love and we feel speaks more to the character of Tracer. We understand that not everyone will agree with our decision, and that's okay. That's what these kinds of public tests are for. This wasn't pandering or caving, though. This was the right call from our perspective, and we think the game will be just as fun the next time you play it. Now, here's the gag. After saying, like, letting us in and said, hey, you guys, we were already thinking this anyway. So whether this person wrote this thread or not, it's highly likely that pose would have been taken out anyway. They would have zapped it out and put in whatever new pose that they wanted to replace it with, and nobody would have noticed. Perhaps they probably would have even thought it was better than the booty pose.
Yep.
But Blizzard received a slew of angry males that were like, "Oh, you shouldn't have been pandering. You shouldn't have changed anything because these feminists blah 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 blah." But he already said, "Hey, we were already thinking about removing this anyway."
Yeah.
So it goes to show you that people are willing to do these mental gymnastics that will skip over any facts that you have. I mean, you and I know what happened because, let me fill you guys in. We are in a Facebook group, and it was brought up in a cosplay group. And no matter how much evidence we brought up with the poses and how the gaming industry is catered towards men, you guys are angry. Even though they were the ones that were like throwing names at us, saying that, oh, this is feminist bullshit. The men who agree that this pose was inappropriate, they're apologists. We were still in the wrong. And when we corrected, even with all the LOLs, the laugh my ass off, the LOL what's, the ha-has, because we had something to back up what we claimed,
yeah, we're mad.
We were wrong, and we were upset, and we were emotional. That was hardly the case. That was hardly, in fact, me.
We just weren't fucking around.
Yeah,
that's it. We weren't taking any shit.
Wrong. You guys are wrong. Here's our proof. You're angry. Oh, or just like one guy, he was like, "Oh, I guess it's wrong for me to state my opinion." Like literally nobody said that, but your opinion is wrong though, because you're trying to make it seem like, people are making a big deal out of nothing, and it is a big deal out of nothing, and they're telling people to get over it. Well, Blizzard got over it, which is why they were removing it in the first place.
You know what? I think what scares them, I think they don't want to admit that it wasn't this person's post that made them change it, but that feminism is, in their eyes, infecting the industry. So now it's not people, making blog posts and pushing a company, because realistically, we know that one person's blog post is not going to change a development team's, ideas and models and designs for a character just because one person speaks up. Like, let's just be real. That's not going to happen. So what, the only other option for them is, oh no, feminism has infiltrated the industry on the development side, and now they're going to actually be bringing equality among the sexes to our video games. Oh no, like, I feel like some, sniveling nerd, like, stuffing Doritos in his mouth behind his computer is like, the feminists have invaded, like... Because I think, they're comfortable as long as, all it is women whining on the internet that they can shut down by cursing them out and saying inappropriate things online, and these video game companies continue to cater to, them needing to, jerk off their little chub on digital pixels. But now that it's no longer that, and it seems like, that's actually being taken into consideration during the development phase, which could affect the end result and give you maybe one or two less sexualized digital characters than you would have had otherwise, it's the end of the world. And I'm like, you're not playing the game for the character's butt. So even if, you roll your eyes at the fact that women don't like this character and they wanted it changed, it's really not doing anything to, like, it doesn't. It's very, very, very minuscule in the grand scheme of the entire game and what it has to offer. Just to focus on that is just so blatantly asinine. I don't understand. And let's talk about how I have a terrible memory, and I can't remember what game it is, but the male character, men complained they were too sexualized, so they changed the male character's appearance. Who had something to say about that and bullying the companies to change?
Final
Nobody.
Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 has an all-male if I remember correctly. I think it's all male um, crew. Now, get this. Let me tell you. Let me break it down for you. Why this is so fucking male centered? Because if I remember correctly, there is a female character, but they didn't want to make her the main part of the crew because they felt like in real life that the female character would distract the male characters from their goal. And I'm just like, so like literally you can write it in a way that she's not distracting for the male characters. So I mean, I don't know why that's an issue,
Why
but
is it distracting? It's literally just the character that's a little bit different from you.
I don't know. But that was the reasoning. So they made it an all boys club. Cool, fine, whatever. I'm down with it because you know what? Final Fantasy, I'm good. But some of the characters' clothing was like, I won't. It wasn't even that their dicks were bulging. It wasn't that their asses were out. There was just like some tops didn't make sense. It was almost like put a female superhero hero's costume on the top of their body, because you know how like it's only covering their nipples
Yeah.
sometimes. So guys complained. They were like, "Oh, that's not realistic. That's too sexy." You know, they were making a big deal about it, and they made enough of a snivel to the point where they were like, you know what? Let's just change this shit. But nobody said anything about that. It was like it went under the radar. God forbid a woman make one tweet and say, you know what? I don't like this outfit. It doesn't make sense. You feminazi bitch! You know,
Yeah.
like, so y'all can change the outfits of the men. You guys can complain about that. But
Yes.
we're not able to complain about the outfits not making sense.
Precisely.
You
Cough,
are a piece of
bikini
shit.
armor, cough.
Yeah, that is such a trash mentality. And you a lot of you talk about how you want equality. You're not really about equality. You want the illusion of equality, because every time a woman speaks up about something, you want to shut her down. But you'll talk about the same exact thing, and for you it makes sense. It's legit, and it's I'm so dumbfounded by how ignorant some of these people are. And then I have to ask myself, because of the fact that they are willing to change clothes and complain about the clothing on these characters, I know for sure that if all the male characters in Overwatch were in skimpy clothes or in really tight clothes with their booties facing the screen or in some way accentuating their ass, I promise you that the homophobic slurs will come raining down.
Well, yeah,
Blizzard,
of
what the
course, they've
fuck
got
is
to protect
this?
themselves because if you look at a man too long as, another straight male, it's clearly going to just turn you gay. So, can't play video games with revealing men because it's going to make you gay. You've got to have women in revealing costumes to reinforce your masculinity because it's so fragile. You need it stroked at every possible moment.
It's it's disturbing. It's really
It really is.
it's disturbing. And you have the guys that say, well, they have all these male characters that are super buff, and I was like, I don't remember. Like, very rarely do I ever come across a woman that like says he needs to be buff. Like, I've seen women that
Yeah.
will say, I prefer buff, and then like end up marrying somebody that looks almost nothing that what they quote unquote
Yeah.
prefer. Because women are taught in society that, excuse me, we shouldn't be so shallow. Like, we have to lower our standards or our preferences, um, because, well, we
Everyone
are.
deserves a chance.
Yeah, everyone, every male deserves a chance. God
Scratch
forbid.
that. I'm shallow, and that's how it's going to stay.
yeah, I mean, if I want me, I guess some big old dong. If I want me a 10-inch dong, I will wait until I fucking get a 10-inch dong. If I want somebody that is built and muscular, even though I'm not built and muscular, I'm gonna continue to do that because guys fucking do the same. I see it all the time. They will be the complete opposite of fit and demand for a woman to have a flat stomach and big ass titties. And it's the way that they they imagine women are supposed to look like, or what a real woman is supposed to look like, is very much so represented in video games and other media. But the way that you wish you looked,
Yeah.
that's presented in video games as well. Because no woman asks for the video game protagonist, which is usually male anyway. Oh, he needs to be buff. No, that's you
Exactly.
guys. Those
Yeah.
are men drawing those characters.
Right. They're drawing them after what they want to be, and that's the position of power. You've got buff men. They have muscles because they're supposed to be powerful. They're supposed to be the protagonists. They're supposed to, win. They're supposed to be admired. But the sexy female characters aren't supposed to be admired. No man aspires to be like that. They don't identify with that. Like, all players, male, female, and in between, try to identify with the strengths and abilities of the main character. With the female characters, they just, they just want to look at them. And it's really funny because, in light of the existence of things like Gamergate and talk about, ethics in gaming and, fair reviews and stuff like that, what does it say that a large number of male video game players cannot see past the sexualization or lack of sexualization of characters in a game and appreciate the whole game for what it is? Meanwhile, you have these female gamers who are accused of being fake and being non-authentic and doing it for attention, who can look past all of that and even look past the constant sexualization and assassination of female characters in games and still assess the game as a valid, media form. It really says something that we're constantly bashed for our credibility, yet we're the ones looking past both things that are simply inconvenient and things that are downright offensive to still be able to give games like, a close and hard look. It's funny.
Yeah, it is. It's really funny. And there's just so much evidence that's towards how games, media in general, but games is just like geared towards titillating your penis. Cuz it's like, okay, you've got boob physics. I don't know how that's supposed to make the game better, but they're like it's more realistic. But why don't, like, I have never wondered really in a game, boy, those breasts aren't moving realistically. I I like literally don't care because breasts don't help me during gameplay. So why who is that for? That's
So
not for me.
there's it's not a full explanation of what happened, but there's something that I want to get into that kind of hints toward this. So I'm not sure how much people know about the video game history as far as the actual industry versus, the consoles that came out and games that came out, popularity. But video games went through a dead period. I believe it was late 80s, early 90s. So the video game industry, by some people's opinion, actually almost died out. Like you had
Mm,
the bit era and the what we now consider retro games, and they're really popular, but it wasn't really going anywhere, and it almost died out. And of course, there was a resurgence of people trying to make games, and there was the development of the graphical user interface. But one of the things that put gaming on the spear again, as far as advertising, was when they decided to, as with every other product, bring sexualization into both the advertising and development of games. Because you think of retro games. Retro games had nothing to do with sexualization. The most sexy character you had was, Samus at the end of Metroid Prime, and she took off her helmet or suit or whatever she does at the end. You get to see, oh, it's a cute blonde girl. But it wasn't that common. But when they needed to make a dollar, they said, hey, if we rely on these sexist advertising tactics, we're going to sell games.
Mm-hmm.
If we start catering towards men and using these same tactics, then we're going to create them as our prime audience. So, like, that when people say, oh, well, that's just how things are, blah, 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 I'm like, no, that's not just how things are. They weren't like that, and there's a very specific and deliberate reason why it was shifted that way. And we have to start taking responsibility for keeping that alive and for ignoring the fact that it was strategic and it was on purpose and it's not some natural occurrence to overly sexualize women in all forms of media.
Yeah, it's it was you who brought up Mirror's Edge, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, you know more about it than me. What
Yeah,
happened?
so they designed what's her name? Faith from Mirror's Edge originally. Um and the design that came out was she was, for lack of a better word, flat chested. She had small boobs,
Mm-hmm.
comparable to maybe like an A cup or possibly a B. And this was actually coming from the Japanese crowd,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, which is actually really interesting how the sentiment spans different cultures and different regions, and that sexualization is pretty much global. Um, but they complained. They said she was ugly. They said she wasn't feminine enough. How are we supposed to like this character when she's not attractive? How am
Wow.
I not supposed to look at her? Somebody went and did an edit of Faith and pretty much like doubled her breast size. And was like, yeah, I improved the character or whatever. And let me see if I can find um, the quote, because the one of the developers had commented and he was like, what I saw made me depressed because I wanted to make a female character that was, that had more to her and not rely on tropes, which, as much as people say women are making this up, here we have developers, not just this guy, but tons of others that are straight up saying, like, hey, this is a thing. And so he's like, yeah, I wanted to step away from that and, make a really good character that was more complex and didn't rely on her looks. So he said, what I saw was just, you know, very saddening. I'll go ahead and read the quote because I think I found it here. Um, so, at the time, the game's producer, Tom Fair, told Steven Totilo that he found the revamped image kind of sad, adding, quote, we wanted her to be attractive, but we didn't want her to be a supermodel. We wanted her to be approachable and far more real. It was just kind of depressing that someone thinks it'd be better if Faith was a 12-year-old with a boob job, end
Wow.
quote. Yep. So, you know, it it's out of control, to say the very least. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm just I think that I didn't really pay attention to much of this, like the politics behind the gaming scene when I was like a young kid and teenager, because it was kind of like, yay, new game. But as an adult, just seeing how people do not know how to act, and I think social media kind of brings it out more too, because now people have the access to the internet, and you can see reactions from across the country and worldwide, and it becomes sad. It's like this world has not
Yep.
changed
Nope.
one fucking bit.
Nope. We've just evolved how we do it. We haven't actually changed anything.
Yeah, so in a turn of hypocrisy, like this story actually made me really really sad. And a Nintendo employee named Allison Rapp, she in the past has been targeted for harassment from Gamergate and other pieces of shit over the web. And basically, it's the same mantra: feminazi bullshit. They've called her feminazi face piercings, bitch. Oh, that's super creative.
Yeah.
They've called her cancerous. They've done all they can to ruin her reputation. Now, the reason why this is happening is so fucking ridiculous at that. And it was just one of those things. It was not her fault. They were looking for a boogeyman. So, as you know, the game Fire Emblem Fates,
Yeah.
it came out in Japan first, as, those type of games usually do pop out in Japan first. and they decided to kind of like localize it when they transferred it over to the US, and they made some physical changes. Excuse me, oh my gosh. One of the physical changes that they made was the over sexualization of the characters, because these characters, Japan's culture when it comes to sexualizing female characters, but especially little kids, is just like way different
Yeah.
from ours, because I think that the oh my gosh, what do you call it? The age of consent, I think it's really low over there, like something like
Yeah.
12 or 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, they make their characters. There's a lot of characters that you guys are fapping over that are literally listed as like 13 years
Yep.
old, like young little kids. Now, this this woman, she's made her stance on feminism before, and it's nothing new for her. This threat is nothing. These threats and just constant harassment was nothing new for her. She was kind of just like working through it, just kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to continue being me. I'm going to continue being a great employee at Nintendo. So this localization happened, and they made like the boobs smaller. They made them look like natural little girls.
Yeah.
And they had this, I think, this meter where you could change the boob size of the character, which is very obviously a little kid, like very, very chibi. Um, so they took it out along, with some other like language things. They change everything around as usual. And the male population got so freaking upset. Like, it's just one part. Like, you're literally not losing anything from that. Like, you get the same gameplay. They got upset because they didn't get to change the size of a little kid's breast, and that disturbed me. Like,
That's really disturbing.
yeah, it disturbed me like no other. They blamed her for this, even though she had actually in the past been on the side and for the boob slider for, I think it's called Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Mhm.
She has made this known, okay? And she has also written an essay in the past, I think like in her college years or something like that, where she was like, Japanese need to retain their culture and such and such and such, where it seemed as if, she was for them keeping like little kids with big boobs and stuff like that. But I think that what she was just trying to say is, Japan is Japan, America is America,
Right.
and let them do their thing. So the internet went wild on this chick, Allison. Oh my god, I have the worst memory in the whole wide world. I think mine is
Me
worse than
too.
yours. Um, yeah, Allison. Yes, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I got her name right. Allison Rapp. So they went through like all her wish list online. Like, imagine somebody searching for your Amazon wish list and going through your Amazon wish list and be like, oh, well, going on Twitter at Nintendo, look at this. Look at what she likes on her spare time. She doesn't like this and she doesn't like this. Like, they have no lives. They were continuously trying to get her fired from Nintendo just because she had feminist views. Well, good game. Good game, you pieces of shit. Because they went and they took her essay and they took it out of context. They started spinning this story, this snowball about how she was in favor of pedophilia.
Oh boy.
The very same thing that they're okay with.
Right?
That they're
And when do
fighting
they ever
for.
care about pedophilia and other issues like that,
Nope.
except to bring it up then?
Nope. And
Never.
they launched this campaign against this girl, and Nintendo did not defend her. Nintendo had no say in anything. They just fired her.
Good job, guys. That's yep, ethics in gaming. Hell yeah. That's what it's all about.
You are okay when the opinion is on your side, but let somebody else have an opinion. Like, God forbid, somebody says, you know what, this just doesn't sit right. You guys go wild. Like, you want so badly to sexualize female characters. You got somebody fired because you couldn't sexualize video game characters that had nothing to do with her in the first place. She did not have a hand in that decision, period.
Yeah. And they're just like, let's blame the girl. And, literally fuck up her employment, which is just, it's like borderline psychotic. Like, why would you take it that far over something so small?
Nintendo already said before that that was their part of localization, that whatever flew in Japan probably wouldn't fly in America. That was Nintendo saying that. But you took it upon yourselves to ruin somebody's career. Somebody who has been proven to be a Nintendo fan since before they started working for Nintendo, has done her job. She's apparently an exemplary employee. And fuck you, Nintendo, for firing her for something like that.
I hope they blow up Nintendo, like, just with tweets and messages and, like,
how is that
so
okay?
ridiculous.
And it wasn't like she was hiding this essay. She wasn't hiding it. It actually was on her LinkedIn profile. Like, it wasn't something that she was hiding from anybody.
Because apparently they're cowardly and they won't stick up for one of their employees in the face of the offended men. So offended. Which is funny because we're always being, accused of being easily offended. But literally, you lose the boob slider for a 13-year-old character and you go on a witch hunt to fire the closest woman that you can associate with the game and said change.
Nintendo said that we are changing things because America, and men say, you know who it probably was? That one lady that works at Nintendo.
Yep.
Let's go after her. What
Logic.
the fuck?
Logic. Male logic.
You guys are really hateful.
Yeah, that's really disappointing.
You hurt somebody. Like, you go really far with Twitter harassment and, rape threats, which is also, like, really fucked up. But you've potentially, I'm sure another company will probably pick her up.
Absolutely.
And they should. They should. And you know what? God bless her, because she hasn't spoken bad about Nintendo. She's like, I want you guys to still support Nintendo, blah, blah, blah. She's a better person than me.
I would have been dragging him through the mud.
Better person than me. A way better person than me. But I think that she's thinking smart, because she's like, you know what? I'm not going to talk bad about my previous employer. I'm going to keep quiet about it, because what I want to do is I want to look like the bigger person.
Right.
In this.
And then she can get picked up without any, publicity issues if another big company decides to hire her.
Right. Because I feel like Nintendo would be petty. I mean, they're pretty petty about you putting up videos of gameplay videos and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that they would probably be petty about her saying anything bad about Nintendo. And I was just like so super disappointed that the silence was deafening on this issue. Like, you're not even going to say, you know what, she's an exemplary employee or anything like that. You're just going to sit there silent while this girl gets dragged through the mud.
Yep.
On this. And
it's pathetic.
It really is. Like, you guys, this is not real titties that y'all fighting for. You understand that? Like, not that you should be fighting for titties anyway, because if the titties are not for you, you're not getting them. But this is a video game. Video game.
Hey, all tits matter.
Oh, you know what? Somebody would say that. In all
seriousness, yep.
now we have definitive proof that the gaming situation, that is for y'all. That is for men, obviously. Even though women are taking over gaming as we speak, as far as like the populace and who's playing, because we are now over 50% now. We're taking over your shit now. Now you're panicking because all that you can hold on to, what is dear to you, is
Yeah.
digital titties.
That's why they're getting so possessive over it. They're losing everything. And wait. You gotta bring in the age-old argument that no, the only reason that women are the higher demographic is because mobile gaming and casual gaming. I'm like, you want to talk
God.
casual gaming? I know so many men who exclusively play Call of Duty.
Yes.
So, women, if we play mobile games or, use a 3DS, but we don't have a gaming PC or a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, we're not really serious gamers and shouldn't be included in the demographic. But because you dropped $400 or $500 on a high-end console to play one single game, you're more legitimate of a gamer than somebody who plays multiple games on multiple platforms that just happen to not be, you know, real games, which it's funny because a lot of real games, quote unquote, are also synonymous with, you know, things of masculinity, tits and boob physics and violence and things like that. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it's like we're taking over. And I just wanted to mention that real quick before someone's like, "Oh, we're only taking over because no, go somewhere."
Yeah, you know what? I heard another excuse that was so spooky to me. They were like, "Oh, well, it just looks like women are buying more consoles because they're buying them for their sons and boyfriends." What?
Yeah. Yep, that's yep. All those, women that are going to conventions in larger amounts and stuff like that. Yep, they're just buying stuff for their boyfriends and their Xbox Live accounts. Yeah, they're making those for their boyfriends too to play on and skewing the numbers. And the World of Warcraft accounts. Yep, totally in the girlfriend's name to skew the numbers. Yeah. Yep.
That
We
makes
are that
sense.
dedicated to our conspiracy to ruin the men's video game time. Like it
Wow.
just sounds so ridiculous when you put it in blunt terms and you look at it like that. Like you're really so angry and so reluctant to admit that demographic is growing and, outgrowing you that you literally make up some shit like they're just buying it for other people, other men specifically, and boys. Like, just do you need help? That's all I can think of, like legitimately. People who think like that. Do you need help? Because there's hope out there for you. You can get better.
How how do you come up with that? How do you just say, you
Mental
know,
gymnastics.
I gold medal
Yeah.
mental
Platinum even.
gymnastics. Yeah, because I personally very rarely buy video games for other people, and it's usually a copy of the same game that I have so that they can play with me.
Yeah,
Like,
like I gift people stuff on Steam. That's really it.
yeah,
And that
so
doesn't mess up the demographic because it still goes in their account inventory, so it still shows as them playing the game.
I now know more women that play the division that are playing FPSs, period, than I do men. And will curse you out in a hot second and be like, oh, squat up, let's do this. Oh, go overhead and flank them over there. Like, we are, what? We have always been into video. That's nothing new.
Right.
Y'all just made the illusion that video games are for men. It's time to let it go, you guys. It's time to let it go. If you're so worried about titties, get them in real life. It's really not that serious.
But I
It's really not
can't.
that serious.
Women don't like me in real life because I'm too nice of a guy. The friend zone sucks.
Right. Well,
I'm so nice to women and I respect them. Fucking bitches.
right. You dirtbags. I'm glad you got hurt by the other guy because you didn't date me. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm still not dating you though, so
Right?
where do we go from here?
Worth it.
You
That's
mad?
just my response to that.
Stay
Well, I
mad.
wouldn't have. Worth it.
Yeah, it's whatever. But I really hope that Allison is picked up soon. I hope they at least hit her off with a nice severance package, a nice heavy severance package. I personally think that there is a lawsuit somewhere around in there, but I don't think that she'll do it because she loves Nintendo that much. Like, her love for Nintendo is huge. So
Yeah, and she can't hold the entire company accountable. It's her department and whoever that made that decision. And just only hope that maybe someone higher up is like, hey, that one was wrong and two was really bad for the company's image. So, please fix it now. But time will tell.
yeah. Oh, and on another note, though, there was an indie developer that was looking to, I guess, put their game on the Wii U, and they stopped it because they're like, this is fucked up. Yeah. So they decided to cut off Nintendo on that. I mean, like, I don't know how big of a platform they would have had for Nintendo anyway. So,
Yeah, but it
well,
still speaks in volumes. I respect that.
yeah, I can definitely respect that because that could have been a source of money, an extra source of money for them. So I want to find out whoever that company is and maybe like, you know,
Promote them.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's
we'll
try and
find it
promote
out and put
them.
it in the info because, yeah, give them a shout out.
Yeah, so whatever. I'm over you guys. I'm over you guys. And the more that women speak up, the more energy you're going to waste because things are going to change. It's not just for you guys anymore, and you will fucking deal. Gag. You will
Yep.
gag on it. Fuck you guys. Anyway, game
Hell.
releases. You did the game releases this week. You listed them, so I will let you talk about the game releases.
Okay, great. So, the first game release I found when I was just surfing around on Steam looking for some early access stuff, and it is called Bunker Punks, and it is a early access kind of first-person shooter game. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a cross between like Doom and Duke Nukem. It's like a 8 or a 16-bit kind of first person shooter. You're running through, you're shooting all these enemies, you're running around, you've got big guns, you've got like a freaking arm cannon looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it's really neat. I don't know too much about the game. I mean there isn't really too much at this point. You raid floors and floors of corporate offices and you face harder and harder enemies and you gather credits and loot. And between runs, and between floors, I'm guessing you get to build up your bunker, um, stuff like that. And it looks pretty simple. Looks like it doesn't, or it's not going to take too much time and dedication, but it looks really, really fun. And it's called Bunker Punks. It actually, I believe it went up on Steam. Was it yesterday? I'm about to find out. Like it just became playable. And I think it was either the 29th or the 30th. Let's see. It's 13.49 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Early access game, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm bad at reading and I can't find where the date is. But it was this week. So you guys should definitely check that out. Um, the next one, also found when surfing around early access, is a game called Hyperlight Drifter. And that game is kind of like, it kind of reminds me of Bastion as
Okay.
far as the gameplay. You're exploring, you're looking for stuff and you're fighting enemies. Um, this game really caught my eye. It's got a mix of 8 and 16-bit graphics.
Okay.
But the mechanics of the game are modernized. The backgrounds are really beautiful. You get like a lot of color schemes, your blues and your greens and purples and things like that. The landscapes are just really beautifully designed. And it looks really great. So it's for PC and Mac for you, 0.2% of Mac users out there. Yes, I don't like you. Um, PC, Mac, PS4, and Xbox One. So pretty much everybody has a chance to play. And like I said, 8 and 16-bit graphics. It's not graphically intensive, so even if you have like a crappy Acer laptop, you can probably run this. So I would check it out.
Hmm.
Yep.
That sounds fun.
Yep. Let's see. I think the next one I was looking at, I also discovered on uh, Steam, just kind of poking around. Actually, maybe not. It's called Hollow Drive, and it's kind of like what they call it is a collectible 2D shooter. Okay, so it is on Steam. It currently has a wait list to give you an access key. Um, and basically, I don't know. What draws me to this game is the graphics. Um, it's fun. You're jumping around, you're flying, you're shooting cannons, you're, doing your 2D kind of side scroller type thing. Um, and this is one of those games where, you sit down, you play 4 or 5 matches, and then you're done. It's not going to engage you for, you know, 4 or 5 hours. But it does look really fun. You can go and you can sign up on the website, or you can go to like the Steam page and get to it through there. Just, put in your email address, they'll send you early access code, yada yada yada, and you can check it out. I may or may not stream it or do a let's play of it. Streaming would probably be better because it's like multiplayer, I think. But
Right.
yeah, it's just so many games, so much money. But yeah, it is awesome. It's by Bitcake Studios, which I had never heard of before now. I like their name because I like cake and I like bits. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on the stuff that they put out. So, since you are the one who just recently streamed Walking Dead Michonne's story, I'm going to let you cover the next one.
Okay, so first off, I didn't even get my review code yet, and I was just actually checking my email for it, but
Nice.
from Telltale. But The Walking Dead Michonne episode 2 is coming out. I forget the name of the episode. What is it?
That's the wrong person.
But let me see, Michonne episode 2. Walking Dead game episode 2. Yeah, so it continues. You know what? It all says episode 2. Why don't you guys have the actual Give No Shelter? There you go.
Oh.
So, yeah. The Walking Dead Michonne miniseries. They came up with episode 2. I believe it was yesterday, the 29th.
Oh.
And again, I'm waiting for my review code because the last episode, it was just so ridiculous. I mean, this is Michonne pre-katana days. She has a machete now. I'm admitting it, you guys, because I was during the stream. People were like, it's a machete, not a katana. I was like, whatever, because I was in denial about it the whole time until I finally saw it in this one scene. I was like, oh yeah, it is a machete. But yeah, so she got caught up. She and her new friends got caught up in a situation where they ended up in a community that is very suspicious. And I think this lady's name, Norma, I think she is just, I think that maybe she's a few nuggets shorts of a Happy Meal, but she seems to think that she can just rule everybody with an iron fist. As we all know, Michonne is not having that because that is not her personality. So, I don't know. I'm really excited to find out what's going to happen next. I suggest you guys check it out if you haven't already, because this is it. This is the shit. This is the shit. And I forgot her name already. The girl who plays Poussey from Orange is New Black. She's the voice of Michonne.
Oh my god. I can't remember her name either, but that is exciting because I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. I know her name starts with an S, but I think that she's doing a great job. Some people feel like she's just kind of like reading dialogue, but Michonne is tired. Like, she's been through a lot. I'm not gonna go through whatever because I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't played it or hasn't seen the stream or whatever. But she's been through some shit. Give her a break. You guys definitely got to catch up onto that, though.
Oh, indeed. So, next on the agenda, which is something that I am divided on getting because I'm not sure how much time I want to sink into it.
Oh,
it's okay. So it's called Blockhood. and it is another Steam Early Access game. And this one is basically based around you creating an eco-friendly. It's almost like a sim type thing. And it's like an architecture-based game. So you are designing a neighborhood with apartment complexes, buildings, houses, and stuff like that to be eco-friendly. So your buildings have solar panel options. They have different window options. You can grow trees and shrubs and bushes on the roofs, and you're encouraged to incorporate that into your building. The user reviews are very positive. There's 93 reviews on Steam right now, and it looks like the release date was March 10th. So it's very, it's being received very positively. You watch a trailer, it's very simple. You get one kind of, plot of land. It gives you so many squares or whatever you can place something. You're just supposed to build like a portion of a neighborhood. And I feel like this would be really good for, say, like architecture students at any grade, K through 12, interested in stuff like that. And I find it really exciting that I'm looking at it from that angle because I'm really intrigued by the idea of mixing games and education. Or not even mixing, but kind of making it synonymous, making games a part of learning. So, I don't know. It's really cool. I can definitely see myself sinking a little bit of time into this. So if you want to check it out, it's actually block apostrophe hood on Steam or in Google, whatever. That's the name of it. You can Google that and you'll find it. So that's pretty neat. Okay. Here's one that I'm excited about, which is very funny because I'll probably be too scared to play. No, I'll play it. The game is called Kona. And I'll read you the description just to kind of give you an idea before I start talking about my take on it. So it's set in northern Canada in 1970. A strange blizzard ravages, I'm going to butcher this, Atomapic Lake. Step into the shoes of a detective to explore the eerie village, investigate surreal events, and battle the elements to survive. The first installment in a series of 4 games, which actually kind of attracts me. Kona is a chilly interactive tale you won't soon forget. Now, the trailer looks really interesting. It has almost a survival horror feel, even though the genre is just adventure and indie. You're going around looking at this deserted town. You have to survive inclement weather because, of course, it's in northern Canada. So, of course, it's a blizzard 24/7. You've got to survive wolves in the game and different things like that. It looks interesting. Like, it's not high action, definitely. But if you're into the exploration and the story element, and if you're really gripped by atmospheric games, which is me, I'm all about atmosphere, and it'd definitely be
Miss Silent Hill.
Hey, listen, I'm probably going to do a full playthrough of like the first 4 games because I'm not going to get into that because that's a 5-hour conversation. Yes, atmosphere is everything. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to put the link in the things and the stuff so you guys can check it out. And it's super neat. The last 2 things, there's one that's, kind of small, and then there is one that's kind of big. So another Steam game. Can you tell I've been sitting on Steam for the past week straight? No, you can't. This one actually is not new. This came out August 20th of 2015. It's called Rymdresa. I think that's how you say it. It's Rymdresa. And it's a space odyssey. So you're going through the game, traveling by yourself in the lonely and mysterious cosmos. You get to customize your ship. You have to survive the universe, survive other ships and attacks, asteroids, meteors, the gravitational pull of large planets that you'll pass by, things like that. And it's all in a very stylized retro gaming style. Again, another 16-bit styled game. It's very, obviously it's single player. It sounds somewhat linear, but it sounds like the gameplay would be interesting enough that linear actually works for it.
Okay.
And it just seems really neat. It's actually on sale right now until April 4th. So right now it's $5.99. And the soundtrack for it is $3.99. It apparently has a really good soundtrack. I have not had a chance to check it out yet. But just from what I heard in the trailer, It's something that I would listen to and probably buy. And it looks like the 28th, it just got a patch. So, yay, you're going to be jumping into it with pretty good support and content if you were to do it now. So, that is, not a new game or a game release, but just something I wanted to throw out there because, I'm really into the small games that harness the aspect of like old gaming that gives us nostalgia. But away from, old school and all that stuff, Fallout 4 Far Harbor DLC.
Wow.
Now, I will admit, I haven't really read too much about what it's actually about because I was stuck on the fact that Far Harbor's DLC is supposed to be larger than the Shivering Isles DLC they came out for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Okay, so that's like a big deal, obviously.
Yeah, because Shimmering Isles was huge. I never finished it because I have trouble beating any Elder Scrolls games because I feel like I have to do everything before I beat the game. But yeah, it's supposed to be bigger in size than Shivering Isles, which is really exciting. For me, and I know I've mentioned it in previous podcasts, I really hate the fact that you pay $60 for a game and you only get a handful of gameplay out of it. And here we are, Fallout 4 is already a game that has hundreds of hours of content. I spent 140 hours. I think I beat the game in exactly 142 hours. And then you're getting DLC, which, maybe $30 or something. I actually don't know how much it is. $25 to add on to the game. But it's the size of Shivering Isles, which these days, with the types of games that are coming out, this DLC is longer and has more content than a lot of full AAA video games. So I'm really excited about that and to have a new area to explore because I'm all about exploring. Like, I get super excited when I walk down some alleyway that seems like it has absolutely nothing, and I go all the way to the end, and there's like a chest with a, stim pack in it or something, and I'm like, I explored! So, I'm really excited about that. It's coming out in May. I don't think. Okay, yeah, it doesn't have an exact date yet. It's just May 2016, $24.99, and I am super excited. It looks like in relation to Fallout expansion stuff, if you got the Seasons Pass, I think you're good to get this. So the price went up, I believe, on March 1st. So now the Seasons Pass is $50, and I think it includes this DLC, something else that's going to come out, and it does not include Automatron, but whatever. Just in case you are somebody who got the Seasons Pass, it looks like you're in the clear, so look out for that sometime in May. And that, that word vomit, man, is all I have for game and game add-ons and releases and things of that sort.
That was exciting. Every time I say I'm going to get Fallout 4, something else comes up.
You're buying it like right now, like right after this podcast.
I really need to buy the game because everybody's been telling me that the game is phenomenal, and I've never played a Fallout game except for Fallout Shelter. So yeah. And Fallout Shelter is actually what made me want to check out Fallout, period, because I've heard of it before, but I was just kind of like, why would I want to play this? So I got kind of caught up in the mix, and then I saw you stream some the other day, and I was like, you know what, this is really cool. Yeah. I can get into that. I could really get into that. So
yeah, see you next year.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, man, Makita, we're supposed to be recording the podcast. What? What podcast? Yeah,
as Preston Garvey pops out and is like, I've heard of another settlement that needs our help. I'll mark it on your map. And it's funny, because you don't get that now, but you're going to get it if you play the game. Because you're going to encounter him, and you're going to be like, ha!
I'll remember it, definitely, for sure. I remember talking about it. Do we have any announcements? Are you doing anything special?
We mentioned it before, but I feel the need to remind people that I am going to PAX East next month. Apparently they put up the tickets on a flash sale about a week ago. It literally was up for probably like a minute and a half, and then they all sold out. And I'm thinking those are people who canceled their badges or payments didn't go through, people who were investigated and proven to be scalpers, and they canceled their ticket orders and put the tickets back in a ticket pool, stuff like that. So they had a flash sale. One of my friends tried to get tickets, was unsuccessful. He was in the queue, and by the time he reached like the purchasing point, the tickets were gone.
Oh, I know he must have been livid.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really expecting to get them. Like, he was hoping since he was sitting in the queue. But I mean, we've gone to PAX. He's been with me like 4 or 5 times before. So at this point, he knew the drill. He was like, "Yep, whatever.
I'm
They're
kind of
sold out."
salty that you did not like tell me when you bought yours. I mean, you could have alerted me.
If you weren't already in the queue for it, you weren't gonna get them.
Okay, fair enough.
Literally, these. Okay, so this year I'm gonna see if I can find it, just because um, it's relevant. But so last year, I believe. Um, we tried to buy tickets and tickets had sold out in about 30 minutes flat. So that's the 3 day tickets. And then in about the next 2 hours, all the single day passes um, got purchased. So and this is a convention that has a total of around like between 60 and 70,000 attendees. So that's that many tickets, more or less,
Wow.
that are going in anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. Um, so this year, I just hopped in a queue, so I don't even know how fast things went. I had to get single day badges, so it was more expensive, $150 for me total, because I had to buy
Jeez.
my Friday, my Saturday, and my Sunday separately instead of buying the 3 day pass. Because literally, as soon as they went on sale, uh, the 3 day passes, I believe, sold out in about 5 minutes. And
Wow.
then I had to sit through the queue and get the single day passes. And that's the reason I didn't buy multiple, because that would have just been way too much to spend at once, as opposed to getting the 3 day pass and paying the $75. And okay, maybe I can get like 3 or 4 of those. But oh my God, that's why it's so difficult to get to this con. And that's why I'm so excited. And I'm going to have so much stuff to talk about. And I'm going to have so much stuff to show. And, assuming I don't party myself right into the grave. So if I survive, then I'll have a lot of stuff to tell you guys.
Wow. So jealous. So jealous. And I
I'm
told
bringing you next
myself,
time.
yes, I told myself that, well, hopefully we'll be able to get press passes next time. That would be kind of dope. That would be kind of dope.
Sorry, that would be dope. They announced musical guest, and Samus is going to be there. And if you're not familiar with Samus, she is a New York based rapper with a video game twist. I mean, obviously, she goes by Samus. She was at PAX. She was at MagFest. I missed her performance because I came down with the flu the first day of MagFest, and I missed almost the entire thing. But that's really exciting, and I'm gonna be talking and fangirling about that when I get back as well. So I just looked at the website and I
Wow.
saw, and I had to just wheeze a little bit. So yeah,
Wow. I'm so happy for you, but I'm like sitting here under this loom of envy. It's like, wow. You have to take lots of pictures.
oh, I will. I do every year,
Yeah,
every year.
lots and lots of pictures because this is just not going to work. You can't be doing this. I will have to live through you
You,
vicariously.
you will.
I'm so happy for you, but I hate you too. But not real hate. Of course, you know
I know this.
that. So, my announcement is starting next week. I will be starting up again my gaming news website, Zombie Gamer Online. I had to stop it for a little while because of my whole like school thing. So that's coming back up. I keep saying that I'm gonna, start it back up, but then life gets in the way. So you know how that happens. So next week I'm
Yeah.
gonna have everything running. I'm looking to possibly do a couple interviews with some indie folks. I'm in talks with that. And I may possibly be going to CE Week New York. That's Consumer Electronics Week. Yeah, they have some of. You know what? That was the first time last year was the first time. No, was it last year? Or was it the year before last? I think it was the year before last. It was the first time I had ever went. I decided to try it out because I'd never heard of it before, but I applied and they gave me a press pass. And like, I was so amazed with like the goodie bags that they have there. Like, first off, they give you, as press, they give you, what you call it, like one of those really expensive battery packs that you charge up so that you can like,
The
if
juice
your cell
packs.
phone's dying, yeah, and
Yeah.
they're already charged up. They're already charged up for like hours of charging,
Yeah.
and I got like $80 headphones for free. Like they were giving away this stuff for like candy, like it was just amazing. And people's inventions. I've seen some of these things that came out in CE Week. Now I see them on different websites, and I'm like, ha! I knew about that before it came out.
Nice.
Yeah, so
It's good.
yeah, that's really cool. But other than that, nothing else is going on. Krystle, tell us about your Twitch channel and your YouTube channel. What are you playing now?
So everybody can find me under Krystle KillJoy for Twitch, YouTube, and Tumblr. Um, right now I'm still playing Automatron. I'm gonna actually try to get back into Fallout 4 a little bit more and prepare for the DLC so that I'm not behind and I don't do what I did before, which was, blow all my materials and weapons on beating the game extravagantly and then be ill-equipped to continue the game. So I've been playing that. I will be playing more Stardew Valley. And some of the other games that I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I'm probably going to start putting on the channel because I really want to play those cool indie games. And I really want to promote them because I'm all about the small businesses and the underdogs and the grassroots thing. That's me.
That's awesome. Um,
Yep.
as far as my channel, of course, it's the Grim Phreaker on Twitch, on YouTube, and also on Tumblr. Um, I am going to continue my Far Cry series. I am slowly working through Undertale. I just
Yeah.
keep getting distracted by other games. I was told by somebody that the purpose of Undertale is to try and beat it without killing stuff, but I find it impossible to do that. Maybe it's just the RPG side of me where I feel like I have to kill stuff, but every once in a while I quench the thirst of my violent side and I kill stuff. I heard that you didn't have to kill that cow dog lady.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard that too, but I
I
I
killed her.
totally yeah, I
I
killed her. I
wrecked
was
her
like, you know
ass.
what? I don't feel like dealing with you.
Yeah, 'cause she was trying to keep us hostage. She was
I'm
trying to keep us
like, that's
hostage.
not healthy. Let's not do this.
Yeah, so I killed her. And I will kill plenty more people along the way and not give any fucks about it. Forget your hippie bullshit because I don't want it. But yeah, that's what I'm going through right
Nice.
now with my channel. So thank you guys for listening to the
Yes.
podcast plus 10 Melanin. Please look for us on SoundCloud as well. This will be going up on SoundCloud. This will be on YouTube first. Sorry, SoundCloud fans, but yeah, it usually goes up on YouTube first, and that is that. We will see you guys next episode. Bye bye.
Later.